The shocking truth behind Ford's banned 427 engine. The Ford 427 engine's story is one of ambition, innovation, and controversy. Developed in just 90 days, Ford created this powerhouse to challenge Chrysler's 426 HEMI and dominate NASCAR. With its advanced overhead cam design, the 427 delivered mind-blowing performance, quickly making a name for itself. However, NASCAR banned the engine, citing its exotic design as a step too far from the traditional pushrod motors used in racing at the time. Despite its short-lived NASCAR career, the Ford 427 went on to become a drag racing legend, proving that innovation often outpaces the rules. In this video, Muscle Car Masters takes you through the rise and fall of the Ford 427, highlighting its legacy in motorsports. Was NASCAR right to ban it? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Muscle Car Masters for more deep dives into the world of muscle cars. The rise of Ford's 427 Camry, NASCAR's 90-day wonder. In 1964, Ford engineers embarked on a mission that would forever alter the landscape of NASCAR. Their goal? To create an engine powerful enough to take on the mighty 426 Chrysler HEMI, a beast that had already claimed its dominance on the track. This engine, known as the Ford 427, or Camry, became one of the most iconic engines in American history, earning the nickname 90-Day Wonder because it was developed in an astonishingly short 90 days. But what was the drive behind this rapid engineering feat? At the heart of this ambitious project was the desire for speed and performance. Ford's racing division, led by Henry Ford II, found itself in a panic after Chrysler's 426 HEMI demonstrated its raw power, especially after Richard Petty's dominant victory at the 1964 Daytona 500. The HEMI had quickly become the engine to beat in the NASCAR world, and Ford knew it needed to step up its game. With Chrysler's HEMI showing the way, Ford knew they couldn't just compete, they needed to outdo it. Thus, the stage was set for a monumental engineering race. With a tight deadline, Ford's engineers worked around the clock to create a revolutionary engine that could challenge the HEMI's dominance. This urgency birthed the Ford 427, built on the foundation of the already successful 427 cubic-inch V8 block that Ford had been using in other racing applications. Known for its strength and reliability, this block was the perfect starting point for what would become a high-revving masterpiece. However, Ford wasn't content with just using a tried-and-true engine block. Engineers sought to push the boundaries further by making significant modifications. The most notable of these was the conversion from the traditional pushrod configuration to a single overhead camshaft design. This was a game-changer. It allowed the engine to rev higher, generating more horsepower and offering a significant advantage over conventional engines. But the innovation didn't stop there. Ford's engineers added hemispherical combustion chambers, taking inspiration from the HEMI engine, but adding a crucial twist: shaft-mounted roller rocker arms. This design allowed for smoother operation at higher RPMs, reducing friction and improving valve control. The result was an engine capable of sustained high-speed performance without compromising reliability. The 427 Camry quickly proved itself as a powerhouse. With dual 4-barrel carburetors, it produced an impressive 657 horsepower at 7,500 RPM, an astounding figure for its time. Even the base version, equipped with a single carburetor, delivered 616 horsepower at 7,000 RPM and 515 pound-feet of torque, more than enough to challenge Chrysler's HEMI on the NASCAR circuit. Yet, despite the engine's raw power, a significant issue arose: the timing chain. At the core of the 427 was a serpentine timing chain an impressive 6 feet long, which was responsible for driving the two overhead camshafts. While the chain was highly efficient, it also introduced a potential weakness. At high RPMs, it could stretch or misalign, causing timing issues that could lead to a loss of power or, in worst cases, engine failure. This flaw became a headache for racers, but also sparked innovation within the racing community. Teams began experimenting with different high-performance timing chains and modifications to address the issue, ensuring that the engine could continue to perform at its peak. Despite the challenges with the timing chain, the 427's potential for raw speed was undeniable. The engine quickly gained a reputation for its sheer power and performance, and it played a key role in Ford's success in NASCAR during the 1960s. It was a testament to the speed and ingenuity of Ford engineers, who, in just 90 days, had crafted an engine that would leave a lasting legacy in motorsports. The NASCAR controversy: banned before it could compete. Just as Ford prepared to unleash the 427 on the NASCAR circuit, the engine faced a major setback. Despite the engineers' incredible achievement in creating a power plant capable of rivaling Chrysler's 426 HEMI, the 427 was banned from competition before it could even race. NASCAR President Bill France deemed the engine's overhead cam design too exotic, fearing it would ignite an arms race among manufacturers, escalate costs, and leave smaller teams at a severe disadvantage. This unexpected move by NASCAR was a huge blow to Ford, as they had poured time, resources, and effort into perfecting the 427 for the 1966 season. However, Ford wasn't about to let the 427's potential go to waste. Instead of accepting defeat, they shifted their focus to drag racing. Unlike NASCAR, which adhered to more traditional engineering standards, drag racing was a sport that welcomed innovation and allowed teams to modify factory engines to suit the extreme demands of high-speed racing. With NASCAR out of the picture, Ford saw an opportunity to let the 427 shine in a new arena. In drag racing, the 427 Cammer quickly became a force to be reckoned with. The engine was initially unleashed in the NHRA's Factory Experimental FX class, a division that allowed racers to push their cars to the limit. Ford's backing helped the 427 gain traction among top-tier drag racers, and soon, iconic names like Connie Kalitta, Don Nicholson, and Ed Pink were modifying the engine to achieve even greater power. The 427's potential was limitless, and heavily modified versions of the engine began producing staggering outputs, with some pushing over 2,500 horsepower. This was a new frontier for drag racing, and the 427 was leading the charge. One of the most unforgettable moments in the 427's drag racing legacy came when Connie Kalitta, a legendary figure in the sport, became the first driver to break the 200-mile-per-hour barrier in a dragster powered by the 427. His achievement in 1965 marked a turning point for both Kalitta and Ford, solidifying the 427's reputation as a true powerhouse. Kalitta's success not only elevated his career, but also demonstrated that despite its tumultuous beginning in NASCAR, the 427 had extraordinary performance potential when in the right hands. At the time, the 427 engine, with its 657 horsepower and advanced overhead cam design, was already making waves in the drag racing world. But Kalitta's record-breaking run took things to a whole new level, proving the engine's true potential in real-world competition. Kalitta's car, equipped with a modified version of the 427, screamed down the track, clocking over 200 miles per hour, a speed that was previously thought to be out of reach for any dragster. It was a testament to the power, precision, and reliability of the 427, especially after its rocky start with NASCAR's ban. For Kalitta, this achievement marked a turning point in his career, as he became one of the most recognized figures in drag racing. But it wasn't just about breaking the 200-mile-per-hour barrier. It was about showcasing the 427's ability to dominate the strip, even after being overlooked by NASCAR. Kalita's success made it clear that when you put the right engine in the right hands, incredible things can happen. And for Ford, it was confirmation that the 427 was not just a powerhouse, but a legacy in the making. So, what did Ford do to ensure the 427 could establish its dominance on the drag strip? Overcoming the Camry's early issues. Even though the Ford 427 engine, or Camry, showed incredible promise, early versions had their fair share of growing pains. One of the biggest issues was the timing chain. At high RPMs, it was prone to stretching, which could throw off the engine's timing and cause reliability problems, especially when pushing the engine to its limits on the drag strip. However, drag racers weren't about to let this obstacle hold them back. Instead of accepting these limitations, they began to innovate. Ed Pink, tasked with sorting out the Baney dragster, which Tom McEwen initially piloted, and later Don Prudhomme, identified that the real issue wasn't the timing chain itself, but rather the block. The engine was originally designed to handle around 750 horsepower, yet drag racers were pushing it to a staggering 2,500 horsepower. This extreme stress on the engine was too much for the stock block. We would be lucky to get 4 runs for qualifying and 4 for eliminations from a block, Pink recalls. If we did, the crank would be laying in the bottom of a broken-up block. The lack of a developed aftermarket block for drag racing was a major limitation. Had such a block been created, Pink believes the history of top fuel racing might have been very different. The solution to the timing chain issue was a modification to a gear-driven system, which provided much-needed precision and stability, especially at high RPMs. While this change was a significant improvement, Pink's work didn't completely solve all of the engine's woes. The timing chain, which was cheaper and quicker to engineer than a gear-driven system, still posed issues. At higher RPMs, the chain would stretch, throwing off the engine's timing by several degrees. The problem was that the driven cam was way ahead of the lagging cam, Pink explains. One tooth on the gear was about 13 degrees. The way we ran the engine, there was about a 7-degree split between the two cams. To counter this, Pink would adjust each cam using different-sized bushings in the cam gear's mounting holes, a workaround that helped maintain timing consistency. Despite these challenges, drag racers continued to push the Camry to its limits. Pete Robinson, another drag racer, complained of oiling problems that required him to replace mains and rods after every pass. He spent months experimenting to improve oiling, eventually adapting the 426 HEMI's oiling system to the Camry, including the HEMI's main bearings, which extended the engine's longevity. Ford's Total Performance Racing arm also played a major role in building a series of AFX factory experimental race cars under Dick Brannon. 12 Mustangs were created by Dearborn Steel Tubing and Holman and Moody in Long Beach, California. These cars were used by racers like Bill Lawton, Gas Ronda, and Phil Bonner. By 1966, Bill Lawton had won both the AHRA and NHRA Winter Nationals events, demonstrating the 427's potential on the drag strip. In addition, Ford's Mercury division fielded SOHC AFX cars under Fran Hernandez, providing Don Nicholson, Jack Chrisman, Pete Gate, Fast Eddie Schartman, and Arnie Farmer Beswick with SOHC engines for their factory-backed Comets. Despite the lingering concerns about timing chain stretch, many drag racers, including Connie Kita, weren't fazed. They understood that with the right tweaks and modifications, the 427 could be reliable and deliver the performance it was known for. The engine's early struggles became stepping stones for further development, and each modification made it more impressive. With each innovation, the Camry's reputation grew. and by the time racers had perfected the modifications, the 427 was an unstoppable force on the drag strip. What really set the 427 apart was its ability to evolve, making it one of the most formidable engines in drag racing history.